You've been begging for it, craving it, and now it's back. I'm not gonna hold you on too long, but a returning face for Neon PRs, Mad Mac is back.
Hi guys!
And since June left, the Mood Order left, we have the next best thing. Since the Neon Season 8 champion, Icarus City's in the house.
What's up, what's up, what's up?
He won the division, so he is qualified to talk about your teams this season. Without further ado, Mac, lead us off with the team that has Trapinch with no Arena Trap.
So, spoilers, but it's true. As always, going from bottom to top, and at 14th, we have Hawaiian High Cost. Sponsored by Nith? Knife? I don't know how to pronounce that, and I feel bad.
No idea.
Yeah. So, where to begin? I guess forewarning of we're judging these teams not based on the player, just based on the raw teams that were drafted. So if we dislike your draft, it doesn't mean we dislike you as a player or don't think you can pilot the team well. It's just Mons on paper.
Guys, he's lying.
That being said, hey, bro, you're calling me out.
You're right. My bad.
That being said, this team on paper is not very good. It loses to Dragon types. Anything that wants to come in and spam a Draco Meteor, especially, is just every time it comes in, it's going to get a kill. The hazard game isn't super strong. Like, outside of Great Tusk, that's really it. And that means you're kind of shoehorning Great Tusk in every single week to UR, Stealth Rocks, and Rapid Spin. The types, you have 3 fire types, all which kind of just want to do the same, like, offensive thing. And not to mention the Terra Captains as well. The Terra Captain sucks. It's a Go-Goat. If that Go-Goat ever shows up to a match, not only will I be shocked, I will be disappointed. I think there are a lot of options and outs for this team, but just as it stands. Also, fastest speed being 111. That's not even... That's fastest is 110, because 111 is Tornadoes, which you did a trade for after Cleavar, which I approve of, but feels bad. But, yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah. This team loses to multiple typings, fairy types, because yes, you have 2 fire types. However, they are not bulky fire types. One is an Entei, which should probably be Terra, and I don't understand why it's not. And the other is an Orgerpon, which also is not super bulky. So your only resist to both fairy and dragon is Golden Go. This cheese string man is holding your team together on a really thin line, and that's not going to work out for you very well. Again, your high speed being 110 with Orgerpon, now that you traded Torn away, is not good. Your removal is Tusk, which it doesn't like to be locked into constantly. And another thing, you need some Terra Captains. Like, make Tusk a Terra Captain, make Entei a Terra Captain, make Urshu Rapid a Terra Captain. Rework this team and get some good Terra Captains on this roster, and I think your position can change, but as it stands right now, your hazard removal, again, is Tusk, so it's not super weak, but it's not the greatest, and you just lose to types. Like, Iron Valiant just rolls you, and it's kind of funny. Like, on preview, it boosts your speeds, it might need a Calm Mind, it might need an SD, and then you're done for. So, and yeah, and then Go-Goat.
Before we move on, I actually did write down some recommendations for cheap adjustments that you can pick up while keeping the majority of the team if you like it, and also having points to spend on Terra Captains. Whatever 2 you choose, please choose better ones. But Bramblegast and Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff is in 1 point, it gives you a normal and a fairy, and then Bramblegast is in 4 points, and you double up on Grass and Ghost, but now it's another spinner and another Spiker that you can bring as utility to matches as you see fit. So, but again, the biggest thing is get some Terra Captains, like, for real. Moving on, we going to now number 13, and this is Caborca Gengars.
Mac, before we go to Caborca, 2 things, Boston, Hawaiian High Cost. Look, I don't know Mons, but if your replacement has to be a Bramble Fraud, it's not looking too great, and The Trapinch will get 1 kill. Shouts out Icarus City, Aiden in the call with the it could be Terra. You could Terra the Trapinch, Terra Bug Choice Band First Impression. We've seen that get a kill before.
True.
Run that up. So yeah, Caborca, you're next, bro.
So it's weird to put a Pult team this low, but this team doesn't support Pult at all. It doesn't do any of the things a Pult team should do. There's no support for Pult at all to be able to be offensive or utility. It's really shoehorned in on this team as the fastest Mon, gonna come in, drop like Specs Dracos every single week. It doesn't have any of the freedom to do other things that Dragapult wants to do. Secondary, the hazard game is on the back of Orthworm, which is never a good sign because it's an Orthworm. And your removal is a Hitmontop, which is never good because it's a Hitmontop. It really... The other big problem is like there's a weird Trick Room thing going on here. Like Slowking with Hoop Unbound and Terra Iron Hands signals that you're going to do Trick Room stuff, but you also have Dragapult on the team, and Chiyu on the team, and Talonflame on the team. And as someone who tried to make Trick Room and then picking up Cetitan work with a Slowking, it doesn't. Like, word to the wise, it just doesn't, because you're going to be in this weird position every time Slowking comes in of which Mon am I setting up for. It just kind of crosses the wires. So, like, I think everything, Chiyu down. Toss. Like, toss all those Mons, get better. If you're going to do Trick Room stuff, do Trick Room stuff. And then get some support pieces for Dragapult. Get another Spiker, another Hazard guy. Get something that's not a Hitmontop for spin.
Yeah, honestly, I think the first 3 Mons you picked up are, like, decent support for Dragapult. Like, Terra Iron Hands, really good defensive. I really like that Mon. Clefable also switches into dark moves and stuff like that and can be bulky. Can also be sneakily offensive. Run, like, if you want to Terra that thing, run, like, Terra Fairy Life Orb Modest with, like, Moonblast Magic Guard. Dude, you can catch people off guard with that. But yeah, like, the Trick Room we've seen with Hoopa Unbound before last season with Leo, that thing can go absolutely crazy. But overall, this team is so slow. It's so slow. And I think that's going to be ultimately your downfall, is that a lot of the things that are going to want to speed creep your base 100s, base 110s, you know, stuff like that, no longer have to. They just kind of get to sit there and run bulk, and then all of a sudden your Slowking that would be doing, you know, 50% to, I don't know, a Cinderace with a Scald on a switch-in for whatever reason. It's just a hypothetical, guys, don't come at me. Is now only doing like 30% because it's now all invested in special defense and Slowking does nothing.
Yeah.
So I would suggest very highly picking up some more speed. Other than that, Mac, anything else?
Especially the speed gap specifically between Chiyu and to Talonflame. Anything in that gap that can run Adamant or Modest is going to, because Talonflame and Dragapult, they're too fast. They're not going to care, right? And anything between Chiyu and Hoopa, especially going from 80 to 100, that is a huge gap to have. Especially when a majority of your team is below that 80 mark. And you know what it feels like? It feels like Chiyu is there because you realize I have this huge gap in between Talonflame. I have this huge speed gap period. So I'll get that 100, and it's another, like, kind of outside of Trick Room Mon. Hitmontop was picked up because, like, oh my gosh, I used all my points, and I need a spinner, and Orthworm is, oh my god, I don't have a Steel type, I used all my points and there's no Steel type on the board, is what those 3 Mons feel like. Which is crazy, because you drafted really high point Mons that don't feel like they're bringing anything to the table. So then it's like, why did you spend that many points on these Mons if they're not bringing a lot to the table, and then you have to cheap out on the stuff that really matters, right? That being said, moving on to number 12 is Richmond Ragingbolts. Sun is not great. Weather in general isn't great. I think it's been talked about so much in between Neon PRs and PRs for other divisions of weather always has a hard cap. A team using rain or sand or sun can only be so strong because of the confines of the weather. But even here, it's really, really weird. Because you have Walking Wake, Hisuian Lilligant, Gouging Fire, Torkoal. Great. Good mons. Those three together, that's your sun. Everything else needs to be supporting it. Terra Cress, Mienshao, Regieleki, Hydreigon, and Registeel feel like they aren't supposed to be here. They feel like they're supposed to be on a different team. Especially Mienshao, it fits the exact same mold Hisuian Lilligant is in, but worse, because it doesn't do anything in Sun unlike Hisuian Lilligant, and it doesn't have the same, like, staying power on the field. Terra Cress, I get the idea of having a Healing Wish user to, like, kind of prop up Orgerpon C with, like, it's sturdy, or Gouging Fire after a bunch of hazard damage so it can come in again. There are cheaper and better ways to do it for your team. Regieleki as a spinner, as your only spinner, well, Torkoal's your spinner, so Regieleki isn't that bad here. I mean, the screens is nice for your team, especially when you're going to want to set up Orgerpon or Gouging Fire Hisuian Lilligant. And that's really all Regieleki does, and it's another especially, like, why do you need Cress? If that's going to set up screens and be Healing Wish, Regieleki already does that for your team. Hydreigon, I have no idea what this Hydreigon's doing here. None. And Registeel, I guess, is just because you use type. But it doesn't feel like the two halves of your team, the top and bottom half, work together.
Yeah, the weird thing that I find about this team is that, like, you have... I don't know why you didn't pick a first pick with your first pick, if you know what I'm saying. Don't get me wrong. Orgerpon Cornerstone Believer here, through and through. Used it last season, won a championship with it. I love that. I love that mon. It's amazing. But you were second pick. It's from what it seems like.
Yeah, it could have been Valiant.
You picked Orgerpon Cornerstone with Terra as your first pick. And then proceeded to go Sun. Which, I'm not saying the Orgerpon Cornerstone doesn't fit in Sun. The problem is, why didn't you pick, like, I don't know, an actual, like, #1 overall pick like Valiant to go with Sun? Not only do they have to prep for, you know, Walking Wake and Gouging Fire, but then they also have to prep for Iron Valiant. Which, speaking of which, of Walking Wake, Terra it. Move the Terra from something else to Walking Wake. It will make it that much more threatening in Sun.
Like, why Cress's Terra over Walking Wake is beyond me.
Yeah, and then your removal, as Max said, is lackluster. Sure, you have Torkoal and Alecki, but Torkoal doesn't really want to spin. And Alecki can spin. It can also set your screens. It can go boom. It can do a lot of things, which makes you question why Cress is here. You kind of, the way it looks is you kind of said, huh, my team has a ground weakness. I'm going to pick up a ground immunity, and then picked up Cresselia. Why? What does that
go on the record? Cresselia is a bad Pokemon. Just on the record, Cresselia is a bad Pokemon.
What about Terra Cresselia?
Bad Pokemon.
Alright, well.
I think there's only one specific use case for Cresselia is good, and I think it's with Ursaluna Trick Room. That's it.
We can discuss the validity of Cresselia a different time. But even the Hydreigon, I also question why it's here as a generic Pokemon. If it were Terra, then maybe. Because again, ground immunity, your team is really weak to grounds. But I would suggest picking up a different ground immunity. Something that's preferably a flying type.
Yeah, it's true. Any mold breaker, that Excadrill is going to go crazy.
That's all I have, really.
Yeah, that's all I have, too. Get a Terra Walking Wake. Moving on, we have Clonbrook. Now, this is really weird. Because there are so many pieces for a really good rain team. But they're just not there. So first off, Iron Valiant Kyurem is crazy. Like, I just want to put that out there. Oh, that's really strong. And then you have Prim.
Are really strong.
Then Prim into Scizor into Thundurus into Pelipper is really good. I mean, even those top 6 as like a quote-unquote rain team, you don't need anything else. Like, especially if Thundurus was Terra, which we'll get to. And then after Pelipper, you kind of picked up some lower tier utility things for rain. Barrascuda, Overquill, Swampert, sure. Then the last slot is purely dedicated. Typhlosion isn't going to show up at once. It's purely dedicated to the fact you needed a 10th Mon, you needed 1 Terra Captain. You had 2 points left. Typhlosion was 0 points. But I don't think you need You had Thundurus, which is a great Terra Captain. Phenomenal. You have Primarina, which is a phenomenal Terra Captain, especially in the rain. Like, you didn't need Barraskewda. I think Barraskewda you don't need here at all. Overqwil is nice utility because it's not a Watermon that's still doing rain stuff. But there are a couple problems. Your Hazard game is really, really weak. Your only Spiker is Overqwil, your only Rocker is Swampert, and you have... I don't even think they still get Defog. I think this is wrong, but like no Spinner specifically is really, really bad, especially when you're having Pelipper as your rain setter, because Pelipper is a double-edged sword. Because if you want to run extended rain, that means you have to run the rock, which means rocks are going to do a lot. Or you're running boots, and you have to swap in and out to keep putting that rain back up. So you really want good hazard control. Like, I don't understand. It feels like you were this close. And the bottom 4 were picked, and just was a waste of money. The only thing I would keep Overqwil, I'd turn, like, if you want the ground water type, change Swampert into Gastrodon, also gives you more spikes, and, like, do something else with the Barraskewda Typhlosion points.
Yeah,
and get Terra Thundurus.
Genuinely, if you wanted to keep the rain angle, I think regular Barraskewda doesn't need to be here. But if you want to slap a Terra on that Barraskewda, then I don't think it would be bad.
Yeah.
But ultimately, realistically, what I think you should do is drop rain. You don't need it. You don't. Your first 5, perfectly fine as a regular team. It actually looks pretty freaking good. If you just drop Pelipper, Barra, Overqwil, maybe not Swampert, because it is your only ground type at the moment. It isn't your only electric immunity. However, Thundurus doesn't really want to be doing that. So having Swampert here is nice, again, especially because it gives you rocks. I don't even know if I'd necessarily drop Overqwil, because it is a dark type.
It's a dark, and it's the ground and poison, and it's the only spiker.
It's also just a good utility piece that I like.
I love Overqwil.
So it's pretty good on this team. But if you drop Pelipper, Barra, Typhlosion, maybe Swampert if you wanted to get a different ground type, and just switch away from rain and go to more like, this seems like almost a balanced offense team. Swap something like that. I think your team could actually be like pretty scary.
Oh yeah.
Or even like Typhlosion as an actual Terra Captain, I don't hate. Scarf, Eruption, Terra Fire, pretty good. Like, especially
it's just
in
that it's
Sun
on a
matchup.
rain team.
Yeah, it's the fact that it's on a rain team that it's not good.
It's a wasted slot.
Ultimately, I think if you just drop the rain angle, you drop Pelipper, Barra, Typhlosion, maybe even Swampert, and pick up like, 4 other guys that are like decent mons, I think your team becomes pretty scary. Yeah, that's really all I got.
Yeah. Moving on, we are going from 11th to 10th, and we have the Uncertain Unknowns. This team is in a really weird spot for me. Like, on paper, it has good guys, right? Like, Terrapagos, Iron Bundle, Terra Heatran, Thundee, Terra Tealpon. Like, these are good guys, right? But there's not a lot of connective tissue here. And a lot of these mons don't... They're in positions because of the team you've built to not be able to do everything they want to do. So, like, for example, Terrapagos is your dedicated spinner. And Terrapagos doesn't mind running spin, but it's really nice when you have another spinner to alleviate pressure. That way, if you don't want to run the Terrapagos spin set, you can. The only other removal on this team is Defog Conkeldurr. Which is really... It's not bad. But if you're running a Terra Conkeldurr and you're dedicating one of your slots to Defog, something is a problem. There's a problem. Speaking of Terras, having both Terra Heatran and Orgerpon, they're both really good. But they're in this weird middle ground that I've seen a lot of teams, especially in Neon. You have 2, like, really good A-tier Terras, to where every game, it's going to be like, man, I wish I could use this Terra here, but I have to use it here. You don't have, like, a main Terra guy that's your focus, that you're kind of working around. Which, some people can handle it, some people can't, but it also is like, then at that point, why did you Terra Conkeldurr? Because there is never going to be a situation where you don't use Terra Heatran or don't use Terra Orgerpon Teal. So, like...
I do think that there are scenarios where you don't use Terra Orgerpon Teal, because I will be the first to say it. I am a Terra Orgerpon Teal hater. I'm just an Orgerpon Teal hater.
Boo!
It is the worst Orgerpon out of the 4. It gets walled by, like, any good flying type. The main one coming to mind is Corviknight. Because at least with Zapdos and Moltres, you get Rock Tomb. You can hit it there. Sure, you can run Banded, Terra Grass, Ivy Cudgel. Ooh, I get to go bonk people. Ha ha ha.
That's really fun.
But you then run into the one matchup. Not even one matchup, multiple matchups, because multiple people can run good steel types. And switch into your Ivy Cudgels, and you then have to switch out.
You know, I do agree.
Because a lot of the time, you need the band to be the power. And so, or, like, you could try to be set up, but on Orgerpon Teal, it just doesn't do the setup thing well, because it doesn't get the coverage that it needs, like its other mask forms. Like, it doesn't have, you know, rock, fire, water coverage, that make it really strong. It just only has grass. So it can't do the setup thing well, so really, a lot of the time, you're just gonna be running Band, Terra Grass, Ivy Cudgel. And again, a lot of the good steel types switch in really easy, and then they get to switch out into something for free, or set up a hazard, or do something else for free, and you have to switch out because it takes 20% from your cudgel.
No. Yeah.
Tough
I
seat.
will say, on this team, don't fall into the trap of using Orgerpon Teal offensively. I think on your team specifically, the extra speed boost to run like Encore or Hazards, or just kind of like phasing utility stuff, is way more valuable on this team. I do agree. Don't fall in that trap of just going bonk. As fun as it is, and as much as it was made to look good last season, on your team specifically, don't fall into that trap.
I think Orgerpon Teal also generically, just as a Mon, is better suited as a utility Mon. And
Yes,
honestly,
absolutely.
I think regular Orgerpon Cornerstone without Terra probably falls into that that thing as well, where it's like, it's really good as a spike lead. And because it has sturdy, you guarantee get like 1 or 2 setup depending on what's out in front of you, or you can get a guaranteed hit off on something. It's really nice. I will say I do really like Terra Conch. Being able to run Terra Normal Guts Facade, and having to tell your opponent, hey, I'm gonna hit you really hard. Find a switch in, or you die, is also pretty fun. Looking at the rest of this team, I don't think it's bad in any way, shape, or form. I think structurally it's good. I find a hard time finding your breaking power. Like, Bundle is very heavily reliant on hitting its Hydro Pumps, which is not fun. Terrapagos,
And you're not going to hit all of them.
Yeah, Terrapagos needs a little bit of setup. Thundurus is more utility, can be set up, but is more utility. Orgerpon, again, gets walled by any good steel type. Conkeldurr is good at breaking, but it's really slow, so you gotta be careful about when you use it. Crocodile can be a breaker, but a lot of the time it's utility as well. Tinkaton is utility, not a breaker. If that Mismag was Terra, I think I could consider it a breaker. I think that'd be pretty good, but it's not, so that's kind of unfortunate. And then there's a Samurott on the end of your roster.
There is a Samurott.
So
In statement.
So I think if you just got a little bit more breaking power, I think this team would be better. But ultimately, I don't think it's bad. I think it's good structurally. It's just going to be a hard time getting that offense out of your team.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on, we have the Frederickton Froakies. This team is really weird. Sneasel Rillaboom, classic. Hisuian Arcanine, Terra, monster. There's a Sinistra on this team that isn't Terra, which I think is just a waste of that slot. I think if you have a Sinistra, you should Terra it because it's so solid. Blastoise is fine. It gets your spinner. It's a water. It does other stuff too. It can do like haze and has flip turn, which isn't bad. Gardevoir is here. Gardevoir's great. Ursaluna is here. And it's weird. At first, I didn't understand why an Ursaluna was on this team, but it actually fulfills a few different rules for you, not even as the typical like gut set does, but like Headlong Rush, for example. If they found this out, isn't going to be blocked by your Grassy Terrain, so it's not actively working against you. But Bisharp to Regice to Iron Thorns are bad. For your team. I won't say they're bad ones in general, because especially with Terra Bisharp. But there are better ways to use your value, especially because your Steel type being a Dark type, you have a 1 Fairy resist on this team, and it's a Hisuian Arcanine. That's it. Period. Which is really bad. And Regice is here, and I don't know why it's here. And Terra Iron Thorns is cute. It's cute. But you could be using that Terra slot on Sinistra and then be using those point values elsewhere. This team specifically, I have it written down in my notes. This team, for 13 points, go pick up Metagross. Especially with grassy terrain. Metagross loves that. And then it will be great on this team. Because you need a better Steel type. And it also gives you a lot of utility just outside of being like a Mon that can hit really hard. So like those bottom 3 are really hindering this draft. And not to mention the huge speed gap that I almost forgot about between Sneasler at 120 and Arcanine Hisuian at 90. Speaking of.
Yeah, this team is really slow. I had the exact same thoughts as Mac when looking at this roster. And I just said, bro, why is there a Bisharp? Why is there a Regice? I can kind of see the Iron Thorns, Terra Iron Thorns, I get the vision. But why are those 2 Mons here? What do they add to this team? Like, oh no, Regice has special defense. Whoa. Oh no, Bisharp's a Eviolite Steel type that's not resistant to fairies. Cool. Metagross is infinitely better here. Also, move your Terra to Sinistra, please. That thing's a demon. Please just make the Sinistra Terra. And
yeah, if you've never seen it, go look up videos on it. It's crazy.
You're gonna win games.
Plenty of PBO videos on Terra Sinistra. Oh my god.
Yeah. Shout out PBO YouTube.
You're right. We're uploading this video. You're gonna get wins from Terra Sinistra by clicking 1 Calm Mind and clicking 1 Strength Sap, and then you can just win the game because either your opponent's not gonna have anything to deal with it, or unfortunately, I'm sorry, Neon players, but some of the games we've seen so far, they're not gonna know how to play against it.
It's true.
So put the Terra on the Sinistra, find some ways to rework some points to make sure you get Metagross on the roster, because I do think that is a really good pickup. And then, yeah, just find a way to fill out your roster, because I'm going to be real with you. Regice and Bisharp, they ain't it. I don't care if you Terra out of that Dark type to become pure Steel type. You're catching a CC to the face, and I don't know if you eat it.
Yeah. And even then, that's a waste, because then you just rob Terra from your Hisuian Arcanine, as the team stands right now.
That's true. Or you're newly Terra Sinistra. Hopefully after this video goes up. Please change it to Sinistra if you watch this video, please.
We've seen too much Registeel. We need to see more Regice. Keep the Regice. Keep the Bisharp. Run what you want.
No.
It's preying on your downfall.
We've seen no.
Listen. This commissioner can talk you into using Terra Regidrago and Terra Porygon Z.
I can't.
Do not let him talk you into using Regice.
Listen, Terra Regidrago kind of is Aura, though.
It's good. It's a good mon.
It's a new PBO mascot. Anyway.
With that being said, moving on to number 8, we have Hartford Wailords. First off, this team's hazards are crazy. There are so many spikes and stealth rockers. Hazards are going to go up every game. Palafin, Raging Bolt, King Gambit are all like super scary end of game threats. Good removal across the board. Defog and Galarian Weezing. Galarian Weezing, I think personally, is one of the best defoggers right now. Especially for the price point it's at. Of it only being 8 points is a lot of value. Rapid Spin. But this team has no mid-game pressure. None. 0. Like, your mid-game pressure is a non-Terra Ceruledge and Terra Cyclizar. I guess Terra Screamtail too. It's not fantastic. And Skarmory can set up hazards and do the whole whirlwind thing. Because once you can start the game really strong with the mons you have, and you have a lot of potential in your end game. But it's the getting from point A to point B that this team is going to start struggling with. Farigiraf is here. I mean, it's just weird.
Haha, you can't jet punch me, Palafin.
It was the counter pick, that's what it was.
Exactly. How are they going to priority me if I just priority myself? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, again, this is beating a dead horse. There's a Ceruledge on this team that isn't Terra, and you Terra to Cyclizar and a Screamtail.
So me and Mac talked a little bit before this, and we came up with some changes that you could do. So, to fix your mid-game breaking power, I would suggest probably dropping Terra from Cyclizar and Terra from Screamtail. I've ran Terra Psych before, I enjoyed it, but I definitely wouldn't call it good. And Screamtail actually really appreciates its base typing. So it doesn't really need Terra. Sure, there are some matchups that could benefit from it, especially if it acts like wants to be offensive or be, niche like that. But genuinely, I think you remove those Terras, you drop for Ridgerath, and you drop Weezing. I'm saying this as Mac just hyped it up, but your team doesn't really need another fairy.
Yeah, you have Screamtail, you're fine.
And it's not like Galarian Weezing's a grounded poison, because half the time it's running Levitate. So... Yeah. And not even half the time, like 99% of the time it's running Levitate. So you don't need that. And you have Gliscor and Skarmory. So unless you, like, really hate Hawlucha, you don't need all that physical defense on your roster, I promise you. Go, drop those two Mons, the Galarian Weezing and the Frigirath, un-Terra the Screamtail and the Cyclizar, and, like, Terra Kingambit, or what was it, pick up...
Mamoswine or Mew.
Mamoswine. Yeah, Mamoswine or Mew. And get some sort of mid-game breaking power. And just, because, like, at least then Mamoswine can come in, be Scarf, click Earthquake, click Ice Crash.
Mamoswine will carry your mid-game to the point where Palafin, Raging Bolt, Kingambit, any combination of them can start getting you towards that win in the end.
Yeah, another thing is I think the Terra on the Gliscor is fine. It has its uses. It's pretty good. But there are two better Terra captains, in my opinion, on your team, and I don't know why they're not Terra. Ceruledge and Kingambit. Like, Kingambit less so, it's fallen off over the time that it's been out, but Terra that Ceruledge, please. Like, I know I just told you to drop some of the things, and you'll have to rework the points, even more so after that, but Terraing the Ceruledge would massively help you and your squad with what it wants to do. If you're looking for something to drop, I think even dropping the Skarmory would be fine. I think it does good things for your roster, but if you're looking for one thing to drop out of anything, it would probably have to be the Skarmory. And then go Terra that Ceruledge, and then find something to do with the remaining points. I'm sure you could find a Mon that either does hazards or does the Fizz-Def thing really well. And just make those changes, and I think your team becomes even scarier than it already is. But right now, it's just, all right, I lead my Gliscor or my Skarmory, I get my hazards up, and I sit here with my defense Mons, and man, I hope I can do some damage. Otherwise, Palafin and Kingambit are going to have a really tough time.
Yeah, that's the ultimate of Skarmory and Galarian Weezing specifically being brought up. They are good Mons, and they're not bad on your team, but that slot could be better. Like, the slot you're using them for could just be better for your team.
Yeah.
With that being said, we move on now to number 7 with the Carolina Cetitans. Forewarning, it got a lot more difficult as from 7 up. These teams are all starting to get a lot closer. And I might be a little nitpicky here. First and foremost, speaking of, all of these Mons are technically good, quote unquote. But there's very little connective tissue actually helping them work together. It feels kind of like just Mons have been thrown onto the team. And the only real synergy here is Galarian Slowking with Baxcalibur and then Webs for like Darkrai, right? Otherwise, it feels like each Mon is here for a specific role, but it's not filling that role and fulfilling a greater purpose for the team, which is really rough. But like I said, that being said, the Mons are good. Like Terra Gyapdos, Terra Gengar, Terra Arboliva, all of them are really strong and offer a lot of different ways to use that Terra. And all of them, if they show up, are equally likely to be Terra captains. It's not like one of those, I have this one really strong Terra and that's going to be 90% of my games. Darkrai is super strong, especially under West through Bombi, and then Galarian Slowking Baxcalibur is a tried and true combo. I mean, it's been used so often, and it just works well together. There are a couple weird things, though. I mean, you have a huge speed gap between Galarian Zapdos and Excadrill. You have nothing in those 90s, which is rough. Your type board is a little bit horrendous, and Diancie isn't real.
Whoa.
Diancie isn't real.
Let's calm down there.
It's just
there. So this team, I think, would benefit from picking up 1 Mon and changing 1 Terra. And this is going to sound a little weird, but I'll get into why I think this is right. Pick up T-Tar and Terra that Excadrill.
Oh, yeah.
I know it seems a little counterintuitive because, oh, I have Galarian Weezing. I'm going to be setting up Snow for Bax. Bax does not need Snow. It does not. And, like, yeah, you could be chilly receptioning away your Sand, but if Excadrill isn't on the field, what does Sand do for you anyway? And plus, the next time T-Tar switches in, it's guaranteed to set up Sand. So it's even better if you need to reset Sand. It could be to your detriment, could be to your to your benefit. But I think Galarian Zapdos does not need to be Terra. I think it's a good Pokemon. I think it fits well on your team. It's a really good Scarfer. I just don't think it needs to be Terra, because all it really wants to do is Terra fighting and flying and just hit things that much harder, because those 2 types hit everything pretty well. So take Terra off that to, gain the extra point or something. Maybe even take Terra off Gengar. I like Terra on Gengar. I think it's good. But to make points for T-Tar and Terra the Drill, you do need to probably drop a Mon. And if there were a Mon I'd drop, because it's not Terra, it would be the Diancie. I'd say get the Diancie out of here, unterra the Gyapdos, unterra the Gengar, and then pick up Tyranitar and find a way to Terra that Excadrill, and I think your team becomes a giga threat. You have 2 super threats that can come in the endgame and clean in Bax and Excadrill. They really only need 1 turn each. And with Terra, Drill's turn becomes infinitely easier.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's also like Diancie and T-Tar have similar roles. Sorry.
No, yeah. Go ahead.
No, that's just it. You don't need the Diancie, especially if you pick up that T-Tar.
Yeah, they don't really do they do a lot of the same things, and sure, it's your Fairy, but this roster is pretty weak to Fairy, but you have Volcanion, who's like, if you're gonna have a Fairy resist, that is one of the top Fairy resists I would have in this meta. For where you got it at, let me, before all the commenters go in and be like, oh, well, I would rather have Iron Treasure, I would rather have... It's for where
Also, not to mention, there's a whole ass Galarian Slowking.
That too.
Fairy resist.
That too. That is your Fairy resist along with Volcanion. Your team doesn't really care about fairies.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always out of there, man. I don't know what it's doing. I can never catch it.
It's too fast.
Well, more like it's just always gone in the snow. But yeah, I think you make those simple changes, this team becomes infinitely better. Bax can be banded now, which is also a really good back set if none of you guys have tried it. Bro, without a Fairy type, what's eating a banded Glaverush? I mean, Steel types, but like besides that, that's really good. So, yeah, that's all I got really.
Yeah, I just do want to mention, for how weird I think Darkrai is to build around because of how weird Darkrai is, I think this team is like good. Like this is a good team, especially from like this step up. It's just little things, like I said, nitpicking, but a T-Tar would be really good here.
Yeah.
Or pick up Big Boy Hippowdon. Hey,
there it is. I was like, he's gonna say it. He's gotta say it.
Hippowdon needs love.
I agree. It's only 7 points. The only reason I like T-Tar here more is because, I mean, Hippo could be really good for you. You don't have physical bulk outside of Arboliva, which, don't get me wrong, is good. But Hippo kind of does all the same things T-Tar does. It just doesn't have the dark.
It has more longevity. Is the reason I bring it up. Because T-Tar, as much as I like T-Tar, having Hippowdon, especially if it's just a thing to set up sand to enable something else, Hippowdon, I think, is generally better than T-Tar in that role because it sits around for a lot longer.
That's true. It doesn't get the boost from the sand, but it does pull off the whole just sit there, be fat thing pretty well.
Yeah.
Only thing, like, I also understand your speed gap now because there is Rabombi webs, but at the same time, you don't even really need Rabombi here. Like, honestly, a mon that I really like for your team, Dragalge. It's a lot more. It's more Spadef. Yes, I know. Sumi. And you already have 2 poison types.
3rd poison type, yum.
But you probably have to drop Gengar to fix those points anyway, which is what I'm suggesting. You don't really need the Gengar. it's like, yeah, it's fast and special, but that's what Darkrai does. Who cares?
It's true.
So drop the Gengar, go get your second poison type that, can actually switch in and absorb T-Spikes more readily. I mean, Glowking's already going to do that, but I like the Dragon type on your team is essentially what I'm trying to get at.
I do agree. That's one thing I didn't bring up that I will bring up now before we move on. A lot of the fat on this team could be better. Just to get more turns to enable some of your offensive mons. More fat. Because really that's all you have right now is Volcanion and Arboliva when it comes to fat, and technically Diancie. And the problem with them, as much as they're great, is they're limited in what they can do just because of the way they recover.
Man,
Arboliva is probably the best.
Glowking.
I mean, Glowking's fine. It's just, if Glowking is your main bulk, the problem with it becomes, how many hats does this Glowking have to wear?
Oh, no.
Because now
absolutely.
it's your special wall. If you don't have a physical wall, now it has to split some of its EV's physical. It also wants to set up snow. And with the only reason I think Diancie is here in general is because it's a Trick Room mon. And Galarian Slowking is really well at setting up Trick Room. And if that's the case, that's 4 different things this Galarian Slowking has to pick up the slack for your team.
Yeah.
But that being said, moving on is the Ottawa Donphans. I like this team. I like this team. Problem. You have no spikes. 0 zilch spikes. Which it would be really nice for your team specifically. For like Roaring Moon and Quaquaval and Enamorus, getting that extra chip on stuff is very, very nice. 2, there's weirdness here when it comes to like the pieces. They're all good. But like, it's one of those things that the slots are good, but they could be better. Like Jolteon, for example. Jolteon Terra, I mean, it's good. It's providing you a role, like it's screens and it's fast. But like, it could be used for better things. Especially because Bronzong, if you want screens, and you already have a Meloetta, so if you want that special offense threat, I mean, most of the time you're going to want to Terra that Meloetta instead of the Jolteon. So I think you could use points more efficiently there. Otherwise, I think it's super solid. I think the bulk is really solid. Pekarunt, Shaman, and Bronzong are going to be a bitch and a half to try and break through, especially because they get consistent recovery and they kind of cover, based on their typings, a wide range of things, especially between Bronzong and Pekarunt. Offense is really good. Roaring Moon, Quaquaval, and Enamorus are all Giga threats. Enamorus only does the one thing of like Scarf usually, or like Specs, or some like weird setup set. But like, it does that really well. Roaring Moon, again, it does one thing, but God, does it do it really well. And Quaquaval is how Crocodile used to be back in like Gen 6.
Demon.
Yeah, it's a really solid Moxie Sweeper, and it's one of those mons where the entire game has to be played around the Quaquaval in the back pocket. Because if it's not, then Quaquaval's gonna come out at an inopportune time, and just that alone is gonna win you games.
That's
why I think
on you.
Yeah, that's why I think Spikes would go so far on this team, because the amount of positioning your opponent's going to have to do to play around these offensive pieces and to switch things in to deal with the bulk and force it out, the Spikes are going to be way more valuable than Stealth Rocks are. Which I think is the truth for the most part, is I think genuinely in this meta, Spikes are just better. Not because Stealth Rocks aren't nearly as good, and then the things that Stealth Rock is going to hit, like Moltres, there's Boots now. But Spikes is better just because it's going to hit that more generally bulky things that you want the chip on for offensive teams. So.
Yeah, no, this team's top 6 I love. If every team on this list was just ranked by the top 6, this has got to be one of the top ones, because that top 6 can easily just come to every game and win games. Like, there's no, super overlapping weaknesses. You have a really, really strong Terra captain. The core is good. Like, it's a little bit lacking on the defensive side, you could say, because Donphan isn't really defensive. So Pecharunt's kind of everything. So you kind of lose to special attackers, but your team can out-offense that. Your last 4 are weird. Like Jarv said, I don't particularly know. I understand why these are here, but I don't understand why they're here, if you know what I'm saying. Like, Terra Jolteon should probably be something else. I also don't understand why Shaman's here. If you wanted the ground resist, just get a ground immunity.
Well, I do get it, because it's also the 100 speeds here, in between Enamorus and Meloetta.
That's true, but it's never doing anything that's like.
I guarantee it
worth
probably will show up to like
damage.
one game.
I mean, yeah, it'll show up to that one game. You know what it's gonna do in that one game? It's gonna wall a special
Seed
attacking
flare.
ground type. It's gonna miss a seed flare. Is what it's gonna do. So I think if you change that to something, maybe you could do it in that range, or you could go for another Spikemon like Hisuian Quillfish right now is on the board. It's a grounded poison, which you already have Petron, but it's also a dark type, which Roaring Moon doesn't want to be fulfilling for you. It gets you your spikes, it gets you chi spikes, it gets you a valuable defensive piece. It kind of loses to knockoff, but you have a good knockoff absorber in Donphan anyway, so I don't know how much you're really worried about that. Same with Roaring Moon if you're booster, like that's also a knock switch in. So you have answers to that as well. If you wanted something faster, I think Rotom-Mow could be good if you drop the Jolt as well.
That's also true. That's fast utility to open up your offense. The Will-O-Wisp will give you a lot of turns to set up as well.
And then just clicking Scarf Leaf Storm or Scarf, Thunderbolt, again, are always good. Because those ground types that want to switch in now can't. So that's really good for your team, I think. And then, like, if you wanted something to replace the Jolt, I think Hisuian Electrode is just better. Might be pushing it, but I think it's better in my opinion.
I think it's better, but I don't think this team needs either.
No, it doesn't need either. I'm saying if you wanted something in that same role, if you just wanted a straight up Mon, I mean,
like fast and
better.
Can hit. It's also true. It's not fast, but it has enough priority where it seems fast.
Exactly. Well, it can win on the spot. Like, that's pretty good. Inteleon, if you wanted another fast special attacker. Inteleon.
All right, now we're reaching.
Dawn would love that statement. Terra Inteleon is good. Don't fall for the propaganda. It's good. Whoever's telling you it's bad, it's not. It's good.
I'm telling you it's bad.
Don't listen to this guy. He doesn't need
Only because I never hit the snipe shot crits. Ever.
You don't need the crits.
This team has
That's better, it's
Shaman,
fun.
but Dawn propaganda has been working for like every division. I've never seen Shaman drafted so much.
I will say Shaman has really good synergy as just a bulky like phaser because of Leech Seed and its bulk. So like it comes for one specific mon that it resists, and it shows up and does like Leech Seed, Protect, just shenanigans like that until something else can come in and clean. It's a really, really good chip machine.
Yeah, it does that. It does that pretty well. Again, I just think there are things you could do that are better than Shaman, quite frankly. I just don't think Shaman's that good of a mon. I think you could just use your points wiser. Is really all.
Shaman's
that is.
mid. What is Shaman on the board? It's like what, 7?
I think so. Hold on. It is. Holy shit!
Oh, it's 8. That's still fine.
It is.
But that's true. Shaman's role can be fulfilled by something else, and Jolteon's role especially. Those are two things where you could get more value just from the board in general. Because there's a lot of, like, just low-value stuff. I mean, like, even if you didn't want to go with, like, Quillfish, Hisuian, I do think you need spikes. I think, in general, spikes are necessary on this team. Between Jolteon and Shaman slot, you need to pick up spikes somewhere. That being said, moving on, we have Melbourne Metronomers in number 5. Top 5! This team is strong.
You did it.
This team is super strong. There's a lot of dark types, and I will say the number one problem with this team, well, there's 2 number 1 problems, which is funny to say, because that's not how math works. But hazards suck. Like, worst hazards in the division, maybe. You have 1 Stealth Rocker in Landorus. That's it. That's it. And you have no spinner. And the defoggers that my thing is pulling up for me, I don't even think learn defog anymore. I don't think you have any removal. Correct me if I'm wrong. Because Rotom lost it, Lando lost it, or Ikorio doesn't have it, and I just don't remember if Latios has it.
I don't think Latios has it. It might, but I don't think it does.
Which is horrible. Especially horrible when you have Weavile that's weak to rocks, Dirge that's weak to rocks, or Ikorio before it tears is weak to rocks. And those are like big things that are weak to rocks. Lando coming in on rocks, Rotom Wash, Latios. Lots of things that don't want to be taking rocks chip all the time. Secondarily, you struggle to break through Terra Fairy setup mons. Terra Captains. And I say Terra Captain specifically because there are not a lot of fairy types that are bulky and also offensively threatening. There's not a lot of them. There's very few. Like Clefable is really the big one that comes to mind. But like if Heatran decides to Terra Fairy, or Annihilate decides to Terra Fairy, or Hydrapple decides to Terra Fairy, you're going to really struggle to break through them because the only Mon on this team that you can hit them with is Fezandipiti. Because Probopass doesn't exist. I love him, but he does not exist. Otherwise, I think this team is super solid. I think it has a lot of different resources to support the offensive Mons. And the bulk that you have between Wo-Chien and Rotom Wash and Dirge, if you want it, is really good. I like that Dirge is in a role where it doesn't necessarily need to be bulky on certain weeks, and it can kind of do other things. I think most of the times it will be bulk, but just it's like Clefable. Having the freedom of choice on a Mon like that brings a lot of value to the board. I think the Terra Captains could be better, but I think Landorus, Therian, and Wo-Chien are pretty good Terra Captains, all things considered. And I will bring up, I did see the Week 1 trades. I haven't discussed trades much in general, but the Week 1 trade of picking up Fortress does everything this team needs it to. But unfortunately, these PRs don't count those Week 1 trades. So, you should have done it to begin with.
You should have been smarter. Nah, but if we were playing a metagame that didn't involve hazards, I think this team would be pretty good. Unfortunately for you, it is quite the opposite. This metagame could not have more hazards than it does right now, which make this team, they're going to be wearing a lot of very fashionable hiking boots because that's the only item you're going to run each week. Dirge, boots. Lando, boots. Wo-Chien, boots. Weavile,
boots.
Like, everyone will be wearing their Uggs this summer. So if you just, I mean, you got the Fortress, but I mean, everyone's gonna say it. Everyone's gonna tell you, Fortress, not it, bro. It's not it.
You're in the wrong territory, pal. You're in the wrong part of town. You're in the wrong part of PBO, you think. It's just a shame that Fortress has to be this role compression of everything you need.
I know.
It's crazy.
It's crazy that Fortress does so much for you.
Yeah, like it does your removal thing, it does your defense thing, but if you could just find a different spinner, please, and then it becomes like that much better because it's not a Fortress.
Go trade for that Excadrill.
Honestly,
go ahead.
Good.
Yeah,
go find someone with Defog. What gets Defog in this gen?
Nothing.
God damn it.
Is that Natex? Is Latios? Smeargle.
I think the Lottie's lost it.
Smeargle. Who is Smeargle?
My goat, Smeargle.
That's not removal either. I'm sorry.
That is my goat, though. That is my goat.
I don't know. There doesn't seem to be many like good removal options for you on the board, but I would look into it more. Look at what really gets spin, what really gets defog, and look into that better because seriously, you are gonna be wearing some Uggs. That's all I can tell you.
And like outside of the Uggs, this is a really solid team. But like, it's a struggle when you draft no hazard removal, and then you look at your draft afterwards and realize you drafted not only no removal, but a really just hazard weak team, even if you had the removal. Like that's it for this team. Well, not it, but like the fairy thing is workaroundable, but the hazards are. Ugh.
Go pick up Toadscruel. It gives you hazards.
Oh, Toadscruel isn't bad.
And it gives you removal, and it gives you a Mon that can do things. Go pick up Toadscruel.
Spore is nice. It allows you to pivot your more offensive pieces in. I think Spore is not as good on this team as it could be on other teams, but it's still Spore, right?
Again, it's spin.
I think it also gets screens.
It's spin. It's not a bad typing here either. I think you become a little ice weak.
Well, with Lando and Wo-Chien both being Terra Captains, it's not that bad.
Yeah, that's why I said kind of, but also not really. Because you have, Skeletor to eat those ice hits. So, it's probably not as big of a deal for you as it is for some other teams. But go pick up Toadscruel. I think it actually can be really good on this team.
You also... Oh, never mind. I'm blind. Skeletor. Moving on. I was going to say you don't have a ghost type to spin block. There's a whole Skeletor. Moving on, we have Salt Lake Salandits. I really like this team. This team, I love Bloodmoon, and just in general, the way this team has been worked around, there's so many good support pieces for offensive Mons, and there's so much fat Mon on this team. I like it a lot. Specifically, Bloodmoon is really, really good here. You have a lot of pieces to support Bloodmoon. Between Klefki, putting up hazards, which Bloodmoon loves when hazards are up to get that extra bit of chip, that extra little mileage. Hatterene can set up Trick Room for it. If you want to run Trick Room, it's not necessary. And you have so many switch-ins for Bloodmoon to, like, go elsewhere, to where Bloodmoon can just sit in the back. It's kind of like a Quaquaval thing, almost. I don't say it does it as well as Quaquaval, but one of those things that because the way you have these pieces set up on your board, Bloodmoon is one of those sit-in-the-back pieces that you will insta-lose to it if you do not play the mid and early game correctly. That being said, Raikou doesn't need to be here. Period. End of statement. Raikou does not need to be here. Because you have Kilowattrel that's also a Terra Captain. And they do the same thing. Go pick up a spinner. I mean, you don't have a spinner. So, go pick up a spinner. Braxton is here, but I've heard through the pipeline that you specifically do things with that Mon. So I only judge a little bit.
It's true. It's actually true.
I will only judge a little bit. Goodra, I sleep on Terra Goodra, but it's not bad. I just sleep on it. But yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah, this team is really good. I did bring up something that was, this team is really predictable. It'll go through the same cycle of things a lot of the games. A lot of the 6 you're probably going to see yourself bringing are Tinglu, Bloodmoon, Orgerpon, one of probably Klefki or Hat, and then one of 3 out of Raikou, Imp, and Kilo, and then you're going to bring Low Kicks. And I guess Goodra can fit in that other one with like Raikou, Imp, and Kilo. Because it's going to be Low Kicks as your breaker, Bloodmoon as your other intermittent breaker whenever you can pivot in, or your lead, or your in-game. It can be kind of any depending on how you do it. And then Orgerpon, which is more likely to be your in-game. Because it can get up a Trailblaze and then win from there, or it needs an SD and then it can win from there. And then Tinglu with the hazards is going to be really nice. The only problem is you don't have anything to block for it, but I don't think that matters because you also have Klefki and Imp. Klefki gets spikes, Imp gets rocks, so Tinglu doesn't need to get both up at the same time. But yeah, it's going to fall into that same pattern, I feel, a lot of the games. And it's going to... Maybe someone will figure it out. Maybe you'll get predictable. I don't know. But I do really like the team, other than the fact that I think it's somewhat predictable.
You know, it's nice when there's an obvious Mon like Raikou that's taking up a slot you don't need and you can trade it away. But there's not like... I guess spinner, but like there's not even an immediate like... Go get this, right? Like I can't point to a Mon on the board that you can use Raikou's slot for that specifically will immediately make it better. Which is nice, right?
I can.
Reggie Drago?
Terra Reggie Drago to be.
You're right. You're right.
You're out of here!
Why is it a Terra Goodra? I mean, that could have been a Terra Reggie Drago. same
guys.
Mon, same dragon type.
We can run Curse, I think. I don't know.
Actually, I will say before we move on, does Empoleon still learn Defog?
No.
Hold on. I need to double check this before we move on.
Dex,
is there no removal at all on this team? There's no removal at all on this team other than Magic Bounce. Yeah, go pick up removal.
Yeah, go get removal.
go get removal. That's all. Just turn Raikou in for removal. With Magic Bounce and like any defogger, you'll be fine. You'll manage. Especially with like fat Mons like Tinglu and Empoleon and all that on the board. You'll be fine. Moving on. Top 3. East Coast Krooks. This is my favorite team. Like, there's teams that I'm, like, excited about seeing play, but this is my favorite team. And you want to know why it's my favorite team?
Why, Mac? Why is it your favorite team?
Well, fucking Hydrapple is on this team.
And look at what round he picked it up, dude. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you didn't pick it up round 2. Missed opportunity. But that being said, there is a reason this team is so high, apart from my bias. This team, especially with the fact that Revival Blessing is a thing, from Quagsire all the way down to Sableye, excluding Palmot, is so annoying to get through. It is so annoying to break through and to whittle down before you're in a spot where Greninja and Deoxys can claim. especially with the fact that Palmot can throw up a Revival Blessing to get a Hydrapple that you finally have gotten killed, and Palmot comes in, brings it back up to half, it comes in, swaps in, and then swaps back out, and now you have to deal with Hydrapple from full all over again. As it's being supported by a Quagsire, Moltres, and Florges, and a Sableye throwing up screens and Will-O-Wisping and doing what a Sableye loves best. Meanwhile, all of this is happening, and you have so much hazard to throw out. You have so many hazards to throw out. And Greninja, Terra with Battle Bond, and a Deoxys Speed are ready and willing in the back to clean up the game. Because that's what's going to happen, is all of these games, that is what this game is going to go. It's going to go bulk, 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 hazard, 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 oh my god, Greninja is in, and something died, and I lose. Which is great! It does that one thing really well. Downside, it does one thing.
Yeah, this team, my first thought when I looked at this team was, holy slow. Jesus, your team is slow. They're all a bunch of fatties. Like, Grin, like, Geospeed is a fake speed tier. It's fake because it cannot speed fucking anything, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. So you really just look at Greninja, and then after that, I think is it Palmot at like 104?
105, yeah. Goes Greninja 180, or Deoxys 180, Greninja 122, Iron Treads 106, Palmot 105, and then drops down to Moltres.
Oh shit, Treads is faster. Okay. I thought Palmot was gonna be faster than Treads.
That's
yeah,
one
and
point.
after
one whole point.
But I think, like, if your team was just faster, like maybe Quagsire or something else, I don't hate the team outside of the fact that I think it's just slow, and that a lot of the faster things aren't gonna have to speed creep super good. They can run a lot of bulk and either set up through you or, like, just be annoying for a while. But other than that, I think this team is really good. Just maybe swap out Quagsire or Florges for something faster, maybe in the 90s, the 90 area, or even faster, like 110, 111, something along those lines. I think it would benefit this team greatly.
That is a point, because Greninja and Deoxys, they're both also mons that aren't going to hit the field until late in the game. So for most of the early and mid game, your fastest mon is 106. Which is a little rough. There's also, do not fall in the trap of, I remembered this, do not fall in the trap on this team specifically of using Glamora to hazard stack and get free tree spikes. It is so much better on this team as a mid-game threat. Because it's 130 special attack. Like, it's really good to just kind of get huge amounts of chip and deal, like, make a trade, a really good trade, or even, like, if you do Nasty Plot, a 2-for-1 in the middle of the game. Don't use it as sash, lead, toxic spikes. Don't. It's a trap. That being said, moving on to number 2 is the Kalos Quagsires. Wooper! I'm totally biased. It's Wooper. This team can be number 1 if I could. Jokes aside, Terra Annihilate is a monster. Tornadus Therian is really good to support Terra Annihilate. Hisuian Samurott here is setting up spikes. Serena's great removal. Corviknight is fantastic on this team. Alomomola, there's so much bulk on this team that it's going to feel like a slog to get through, especially when you need to click certain moves to deal with that bulk. And if you click that certain move and, like, Ape switches in, or Tornadus switches in, or Serena switches in, then fuck. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that feeling. Hisuian Samurott's great. I mean, this is a team based on the mons you have with Iron Moth and Annihilate, and even if you want to run Tornadus offensive, you can. Having the just easy spikes on this team for that extra chip, fantastic. I will say, 2 things. Chestnut doesn't need to be here. It's redundant. You have spikes, you don't need it. You have a grass type in Serena, and the fighting type isn't that valuable for your type chart. It actually actively makes your type chart worse. Sandy Shocks also I don't think needs Terra on this team. I love the Sandy Shocks. I just think between Iron Moth and Annihilate, you're never really going to use the Sandy Shocks Terra. Especially because I believe Sandy Shocks you are actually spending points on to get it. I just think you could use those points better elsewhere. Otherwise, yeah, you're using 2 points there. So, like, that's it. Those are my qualms with the team.
This team loses to Terra Kilowattrel. It's like, it's really weak to flying electric. and then that ice move or grass move to hit the Sandy Shocks. Like, and it's that fast. This team hates that mon. But other than that, I
feel like
think
Wooper
really
Endeavor. What's your thoughts?
No,
Based.
not gonna work.
Based.
I do think Chestnut's redundant. I think you could go swap that out for something. I like Chestnut personally. I've come around to it in draft. I still think it's the worst Kalos starter, but in draft I think it's actually pretty decent. But if you wanted to swap it out for something else, I think something like, again, Hisuian Quillfish is right there. It gives you another dark type. It gives you a ground and poison type that can switch in.
All right, buddy. What is up with this Hisuian Quillfish agenda?
It's good. It's a good mod.
I agree.
Hold on.
Every team is not fixed by a Hisuian Quillfish.
My bad. He should go pick up Porygon Z. Duh.
Oh, you know what? True.
Like,
True.
Yeah, I was waiting for it. Someone had to say, you know what I mean?
Go drop the chest out for a PZ. Easy. Fixes your team.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you got
I
Steel type.
didn't think it's bad on your team, but like, I also think there are better options like Hisuian Quillfish. Anyway,
He does know. No, never mind.
I think the team is good. I think Chestnut doesn't need to be here. Replace that for something else, and then yeah, just it loses to Terra Kilowattrel, but. Hopefully you don't have to face that person, and you won't have to find out. Oh wait, you face Cass week 8. Oh well, you're done.
You know what? Go pick up, just for that matchup, go pick up Magnuson. There you go. There you go. I mean, that's the thing of like, I don't even know what to pick up with that Chestnut slot. Like, I joke about the Hisuian Quillfish, but like, it will give you more value than the Chestnut will, especially for your type board. And like, anything in that slot is better, almost. Almost. I don't understand why Chestnut's here. It's one of those things of, with other teams I can understand why certain mons are here, but Chestnut literally does nothing for you except make your type chart look awful. Maybe it's like bulk, you wanted some more Fizz-Def bulk. Given a Lumble and a Corviknight. If anything, this is actually a Dragalge team that needs a Spidef. If anything.
Yeah. This team needs Dragalge.
Yeah,
Too bad
right,
it's 1 point higher.
Well, if they drop the Terra on Sandy Shocks,
That's true.
they can go all the way up to 9. Hisuian Gujar too. I will say that's my expectation of get something that's more like a Spidef switch in. Because now that I look at it, Spidef, your highest Spidef mon is Iron Moth.
Could be
at 110
too.
I think he's running an 8-mon team. I don't think Chestnut Wooper are real. I think he's just 8 mons.
Wooper is king.
Chestnut's
dare you?
real. Chestnut is a real
I don't think
Pokemon.
he's gonna bring it to a game.
On this team, Chestnut is not real.
Not on this team, but in general, drafting Chestnut as a real Pokemon is real.
I agree. I just think he's been 8 months.
Oh, you know what? There is one more thing. You don't have a normal type. You don't have an immunity to Ghost.
PZ. Oh, I get it. PZ.
Well, I was actually going to bring up if P2 is still available. That's probably better on this team.
It is.
Yeah, so P2 is also not bad on this team.
For more bulk? What for more bulk?
No, yeah. For Spidef bulk specifically, yeah.
Oh, yeah, true.
Because the only mon that's actually going to run investment bulk that has the bulk is Serena, and it's 72 HP and 98 Spidef. That's it. That's your Spidef mon.
I mean, it runs AV a lot, so...
Yeah, like, you have AV, that's why I'm like, physical bulk is typically more important, because AV exists, but still. Moving on to undisputedly number 1, the TING goes BOOM. This team is awesome. This team is fantastic. This team, there is not a single slot that is not being used to its maximum value. Arguably Komala, but I'm a Komala lover. I like him a lot. He does a lot for 2 points. But there's so much value in every slot on this team. Meowscarada is This isn't Wheel either. So you were able to get Meowscarada, I think you were like 6th pick, and Garchomp made it back to you. And then you picked up Zapdos. I feel like I could keep doing this. Then you picked up Zapdos, and then Iron Crown, and then Tentacruel, and then Terra Keldeo. Like, it's so strong. The bulk on this team is really excellent because not only is it bulk, but it's bulk that's doing more than sitting there and being fat. It's bulk that is actively progressing you through the game, which is fantastic. Iron Crown is here, and it's crazy that most times when I see a non-Terra Iron Crown on a team, why isn't that Terra? But like here, I think the 2 Terra captains you picked are still really good. And like I think if you moved it from like Enamorus to Iron Crown or Keldeo to Iron Crown, it would just be a linear, like they're on the same level, right?
Yeah.
Rotom Heat is super nice for this team, support-wise. Both the screens and the phasing are super strong. Tentacruel is really, really good on this team. It's not... The spinner and the type it has is really strong for this team, type-wise. I love it a lot. If anything, I would say there's a little bit of a struggle outside of trying to get set up. Like, most of your mons do want to set up for offense, other than, like, Terra Keldeo. But, like, that's fine.
I think the Mimikyu can be something else.
It could.
It's your only fairy, but if that's the case, that's not your only fairy. I forgot there's an Amorous Theory in there, but if it's Terra, then like it could just do the whole Terra Fairy Specs Moonblast thing, haha, funny click button. Or it could be like, you know, an actual more defensive check to something in Terra out of its fairy type. So if you want another fairy type just for backup, Comfey's right there in the same point tier, and I think it's
more so the ghost type, the spin blocker.
And if that's the case, go get Decidueye.
It's also
It's
true.
another ground resist. Not that you need that, but it's nice to have. And it's a ghost type. It's faster. It can actually... I feel like it does the whole offense thing a little bit better. But
Does the Decidueye get spikes? I always forget. It doesn't,
I'm
right?
not sure. I don't think so. Which is sad.
It gets
but
defogged,
I don't
though,
think it
right?
does.
Did it keep
does get
defog?
defogged.
It
It does
That's
get
not bad.
defogged.
That's pretty cool.
That gives you a nice option outside of, like, if you don't want to bring Tentacruel or Komala, then you can run defog on Decidueye, and that's not bad either. It doesn't mind running defog.
Because it's fast enough to do it on slower mons too, so that's
Mhm.
what's really makes it good. Otherwise, yeah, dude, this top core is insane. Meow, Garchomp, Zapdos, Iron Crown, Tentacruel, Terrakeld, like that's an insane core.
Oh yeah, make your
Those
Keldeo.
top six,
I
those
know.
top six could come to every single game, and you could just win. Because that's what those mons do. They can be most of them can be whatever you need them to be in that matchup, and just do it really well. Super consistent. Your support pieces of Enam, T, Terra is pretty good. Rotom Heat is meh. I'm not gonna say it's
How
good, but I'm not
dare
gonna say
you.
it's bad. I think Mimikyu could probably be Decidueye. And then Komala, for what it does on the team, I think it's perfectly fine. You can do funny Protect Last Resort. So that's cool.
Sleep Talk Last Resort is all you need.
Sleep Talk
'cause
Last
of
Resort,
Comatose.
yeah. Yeah, that's right. It's Sleep Talk Last Resort is what I meant to say. Yeah, you literally just Sleep Talk Last Resort and then like run Banded, and the teams that don't have a good normal resist just kind of fold because it's that strong. But yeah, this team needs no more.
Oh, you know what? You don't have extra points. I was gonna say if you had extra points, you could do the Decidueye swap, and if you had one extra, you go Komala to Smeargle. Because I think everything Komala does, Smeargle just does better. Plus, webs on this team would be scary. Not for everything, but for specific, like a Garchomp set with webs would be kind of nice for certain weeks matchups. But you don't need it. But I do agree. I think Mimikyu is probably the weakest link for its point value. But that being said, those are our PRs.
I got the win.
I do-
Who got the win?
Before I say that, I do want to make a point of, because Crystal was introduced,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot more new player syndrome than there was last season.
This is true.
So I will reiterate, this is not a judge of you as a player. This is just the team that was drafted. If any of you need any information, if you're new, please reach out to me and I will help you. I love watching Neon. That being said, I think I got East Coast Krooks.
Against who? Against who? Who you got?
Probably the Ting Goes Boom. I think the Ting Goes Boom is going to have a slot in playoffs, absolutely.
It's like that.
But I have
Okay.
East Coast Crook wins it all.
I think I know Aiden's
I think-
answer. I think I know Aiden's
So,
answer.
so here's the thing.
Unbiased.
There are multiple teams that, because I know who's in their corner, I think could easily go on to the championship. and so I think I have to go for them and be Salt Lake and Uncertain.
Oh wow.
Ooh, Uncertain.
I think
It's about
Rex has been like a sleeper pick every season he's here. Always like middle of the pack, but will give you that run for your money, like he has to me in the
Week
playoffs.
5, he's gonna drop all trades, and the team is gonna go from okay to amazing.
I genuinely think he can make it to the finals. And I think Salt Lake as well, knowing who they have behind them in their corner, I think they could easily make it to the finals as well. Then their team's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was top 5, so it's got to be good. But yeah, that's who I got.
Whoa. Okay.
I want to mention East Coast is not just. It is a little bit, but it's not just biased for J.R. Hydrapple. I swear to God. I swear.
Yeah, one has bias of Salt Lake, one has bias for Hydrapple, so it really is the most unbiased takes in the PBO. But no one here has PZ or Terry Rodrigo, so I can't be biased when you think about it. I really can't be. I really so and you have Cass versus Rex as the finals game, and then Cass winning.
I think Cass will win.
Okay, and then it was East Coast Krooks versus TING BOOOM. You have East Coast winning, right, Mac?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. God, I'm gonna have to rip it. It's the finals game will be.
Oh, I know what he's gonna say. I know what he's gonna say.
I'm thinking of the opponent. It's between 2 people. Just to be different, I'm gonna go. The finals game is Ottawa versus Caltech, and I'm gonna give Ottawa the win.
That's not where I thought the second.
Ottawa takes it, baby.
I
Ottawa
knew you were
takes
gonna
it.
say Ottawa. I knew you were gonna say Ottawa.
Dude, Terra Quavo is pretty cool.
Terra Quavo is crazy.
It's so good.
And with Petch and the mascot pick, I gotta respect it. And also Ottawa season 2, I gotta, I have bias. What can I say?
It's also so interesting because just based on teams, anything from Carolina Cetitans up, I think has a really good shot of being finals. And it's also so interesting when I PR with someone who knows the players and the people backing them, because I know nothing. I know players based on last season, that's really it. So I love having the other opinion that's more knowledgeable about, people.
Clonbrook.
That's true.
Kind of.
I also, Caltech was last season, Salt Lake,
not
Salt Lake,
Caltech
East Coast was last season.
Caltech was last? No, it wasn't. Caltech is this season.
Pretty sure. Caltech, the username is familiar with me. It might not be PBO, but the Caltech username is familiar to me.
Caltech has been a lot of other places.
This is true. Shouts out Caltech. Let me double check Caltech. I'm pretty sure he just joined season 9.
Yeah, this is his first season.
Yeah, he's a season 9 role. Yeah, but he's a good player. So yeah, I got Ottawa, Caltech. I'm gonna go Ottawa, and
we're really spread across the board. This is fun.
I can give you the playoff teams, but we're not on that right now.
If East Coast wins, you both owe me $50. No takebacks.
Yeah.
And if your teams win, I don't owe you shit.
Hey, to help us fund this payment of East Coast win, go subscribe to the PBO Patreon.
Ah, so true, so true.
Go support to the $50 tier to who can give Mac his money.
$50 tier. I will once a month hand draw a picture of Hydrapple. That's it. That's all you get.
Any more closing statements before we end it?
I think we wrapped it up in a nice little pretty bow.
All right, perfect. Before I make the announcement, whenever you'll see this, there's 3 PRs this season. There's this one, the one before week 5, and the one before week 8. And until then, we'll see how these teams shape out. We'll have videos up on screen next time of all the teams and stuff, so we'll really see who's where, what, and why. And with that, we're done. PBO, am I right?